When you're learning a language, grammar can seem like this impossible subject to study, like advanced calculus or trigonometry. And it's understandable to feel that way. I mean, look at this Spanish verb book. There's 15 verb tenses here and 6 conjugations per tense. So that's already 90 things to remember, and that's just one verb. This book has 501 verbs. So basically you're telling me that to learn Spanish, I need to memorize over 45,000 verb forms. And that's not even counting the 93,000 vocabulary entries in the Spanish dictionary. So clearly learning Spanish must require some kind of superhuman brain power and memory that I probably don't have. But that's actually not the case. In this video, I'm going to introduce the concept of a verb map, and it's going to simplify and organize the way you think about grammar. It's going to transform your view of grammar from an impossible memorization task to an immediately usable tactical tool that will help you speak Spanish or any language you're learning in past, present, and future without feeling like you have to memorize 45,000 things. Here's how the verb map works. Across the top, we have past, present, and future. Those are tenses. And down the side, we have simple, continuous, and perfect, which are aspects. Now, all of a sudden, you might be thinking, man, I don't even know what that is in English. Perfect aspect, imperfect aspect. And I totally get that. That's why we're going to simplify what that means into a very simple set of questions. And here's the first question. Past simple, what happened? What happened yesterday? What happened last weekend? What happened last night? Present simple, tell me anything that happens in general. It's not necessarily happening right now, doesn't necessarily always happen, but in general, just tell me some things that happen. Future simple asks the question, what's going to happen? Tonight, tomorrow, this weekend. Come down to the continuous row, back to the past tense column. What was happening? So that's something like, what was happening when that other thing happened? Present continuous, what's happening right now? Future continuous, what will be happening? Past perfect, tell me anything that had already happened. So by that time, something had happened, and then something else started to happen, okay? Present perfect, anything that ever has happened. And future perfect, what will have happened? Notice that with some of these questions, it's harder to imagine a situation in which you would ask that question. In other words, when's the last time you asked someone, what will have happened? It's a bit less common. So what that tells us is that not all areas on the verb map are as equally useful. And what that means is that you don't necessarily need to be studying verb tenses just for the sake of studying verb tenses, but rather scanning the map for interesting areas to visit. And once you get there, you can explore and see what you come up with. So let's take a look at the question, what happened? Here I'm using my conversation tree approach. And I just recently did a video on the whole conversation tree method. So I'll put a card here on the screen. You can watch that video too. Start with the verb seed or the verb starting point. I cooked, right? The question is, what happened? Oh, nothing. I stayed at home. I cooked dinner, right? Vocabulary are branches, variables. You can say I cooked dinner. You could say I cooked chicken. You could say I cooked rice. Obviously, you could switch out the vocabulary for infinite vocabulary items. Take that same verb starting point, I cooked, put it in form 2. That's what I call a yes-no question. Did you cook? You asked me, Tony, did you cook? You could say, Tony, did you cook dinner? Did you cook chicken? Did you cook rice? And I'll say, yes, I cooked rice. Come over to things that generally happen. What happens? Well, I cook. Do you cook every day? Yeah, no, I cook once in a while. Okay, I cook dinner. Well, I cook chicken sometimes. I cook rice. What about you? Do you do this? Do you do that? By the way, I'm going to do this in Spanish in a sec. You're going to see that English and Spanish works the same way. Future, what's going to happen? Oh, I'm going to cook dinner tonight. Question for you. Are you going to cook dinner tonight? What are you going to cook tonight? Say, oh, I'm going to cook chicken and rice. What was happening? I was cooking dinner. So when you called, what was I doing? When I was cooking dinner when you called, okay? And what about you? Were you, and you say, no, I was switch out cooking. Said, no, I was watching a movie. And I said, I was walking my dog. What's happening right now? I'm cooking dinner right now. I'm watching this video. I'm eating dinner now. What will be happening? Well, I will be cooking dinner for 100 people on Saturday because this is da-da-da, right? Moving right along here. Something that had happened. Well, I had cooked, right? I had done such and such. question for you. Had you already done this and that? Something that ever has happened. I have done this. I have cooked chicken. I have cooked this. Have you ever done this or that? And finally, what will have happened? This kind of rare one. Well, by this time on Sunday, I will have cooked dinner for 5,000 people. Here it is in Spanish, and it just so happens that Spanish and English have the exact same tense aspect structure. So I'll spare you from listening to me read the whole thing, but in the exact same way, you can say what happened last night. You can say, I cooked dinner, cociné la cena. You know, what did you cook? Cociné pollo. Come down to the center square. What's happening right now? I am cooking dinner right now. Estoy cocinando la cena. You could ask me, are you cooking dinner? You say, estás cocinando la cena. What are you cooking? You say, ¿qué estás cocinando? I say, I'm cooking rice. Estoy cocinando arroz. Finally, come down to the bottom center. Just going to do a quick tour of the neighborhood here. Have you ever cooked? ¿Has cocinado something? And I'll say, yes, I have cooked that. Si he cocinado this. Ask me, have you ever done this? Switch out the verb cocinar for any verb you want, and you can ask me, Tony, have you ever done this? And I'll tell you, yes, I have, or no, I know I have. Here's the blank verb map template. And you can think of the verb map as like you're looking at a map of a city. Every area on the map is like a neighborhood in the city. We've already established that not every neighborhood is as equally interesting. Some neighborhoods got all the restaurants and the bars and all the people in the nightlife, and it's really popping. Other neighborhoods are kind of like, yeah, we hardly ever go there. You can also think of the squares as like stations, like at a gym, So you go to one station, you work out one muscle group. You go to another station, you work out another muscle group. This template also works very well as a journaling prompt generator. You're learning Spanish, Portuguese, German, Italian, whatever it may be. If the question is, what happened yesterday? That's a good prompt. You can come up with ways to tell me everything that happened yesterday, tell me everything that's happening now. It's good writing practice. All right, now here are a few disclaimers, because I know exactly 99% of you feel me, so I'm just talking to the 1% now. I know I left out the conditional, I would cook. I also left out a few aspects and the subjunctive mood. So if you want to see my complete English-Spanish verb map, I'm making it free to download in my school community. And the link to my community is in the description of this video. I also know that not all languages have the same tense and aspect structure, and that in some languages, such as indigenous languages like Anishinaabe, verbs can play entirely different roles altogether. So to my 1% fans here, try to look at the bright side. Rejoice that the possibility of a verb map exists. We can adapt it to the specifics of other languages as we go. And to everyone, here's the #1 takeaway of this entire talk. Don't think of grammar as a set of rules that you have to follow or else you get in trouble. Instead, think of grammar as a set of creative tools, patterns that you can use to come up with infinite possibilities. I hope you've liked this video and subscribed. Hope to see you in my school community, and I'll be happy to answer any questions or comments you may have. Thanks for watching.